the way, Maryland, he said, he's the Archbishop, all that kind of stuff. The Maryland was interesting as an interesting history. They call it Mary Land because it was formulated by oppressed Catholics. So it's named after Mary. Katie,
Didn't know it.
Denise, did you know that?
Didn't know it.
You did not know that. Yeah, all right. Jimmy Hoff, the Gateway Pundit's here. He's been all over that story in Maryland and beyond. So thank goodness for websites like thegatewaypundit.com, or we'd never even hear these stories, for crying out loud. How you doing, Jimmy?
Great, Jamie. Good morning.
Well, you also have the story of the guy who was wearing the Make America Great Again hat on a subway. That's this one here, cut number 14.
Violence is never the answer, no matter what side it's on.
24-year-old Corey Cataldo is a hard-working electrician. Last Friday, he was heading home to the Bronx when he was violently attacked on the subway.
Yeah, so he's for wearing his Make America Great Again hat.
Right. So they choked him out and pinned him on the floor, and because he deserved it because he's wearing a MAGA hat.
And keep in mind, these people have been emboldened throughout the entirety of this campaign. And I go back to that time in Chicago, which was a horrible time in, I think, American political history, when with the support of some of Donald Trump's Republican opponents, and I'm talking about they didn't start the riots, but they didn't react to them properly, in my opinion, when they shut down a Donald Trump rally and harassed Donald Trump supporters, and all we heard from John Kasich was, "This is what you get when you talk in that manner." With guys like that, I mean, who needs enemies?
Absolutely, and he wasn't the only one, as you recall.
Oh yeah, Ted Cruz.
Then we find out later that these organizers who were going to beat heads that night. I mean, these were a bunch of big, rough-looking guys inside that arena. They were all planted there by the DNC. And we had Republicans blaming Donald Trump for the violence. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I wish people would take a little time out from promoting their books to maybe talk a little more about what's going on around the country and the horrible ways in which people are oppressing individuals and their voting rights and their speech. It's unbelievable. And by that, I mean...
It really is.
With all going on, I really have to hear Megyn Kelly talk about what it was like for her as a 7th grader. Are you friggin'
kidding? That bullying, it affects my coverage as a news person.
Yeah, well, okay, whatever. I mean, honestly, she was talking about being in 7th grade and having people losing friends and having people make fun of her. Welcome to 7th grade. I mean, it's unbelievable.
And then she goes on to compare that to the very difficult period this last year where she got all the attention and was attacked by Donald Trump. So, anyway.
You mean Donald Trump?
No, she takes no responsibility for that whole episode with Trump, too, at all. Nothing. But I don't know.
So let me get this straight. Donald Trump defending himself was him bullying her? Is that what that is?
Right.
Okay.
She cherry-picked those lines and it threw them at him at the first debate, first question out of the gate. And yeah, I don't know. I've lost a lot of respect for Megyn Kelly, as have a lot of people. But she's been after Trump all year long. She just can't drop it.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, she made the run. She thought she had it in the bag after that debate, and she went and then cut her hair like Elizabeth I, and she thought she was just going to be this militant diva, and just own the world. And now she's being told by ABC, CBS, and NBC they don't want her. So,
right, and she's out trashing Fox.
Yeah. So
by the way, her reviews on her book. A lot of people are trolling the Amazon reviews, and she has a one rating. And Michelle Fields is upset because she says she's comparing herself to Megyn Kelly now. I mean, it's just this who can be the biggest victim. And these Trump people are so mean because they gave her number 1 out of 5 reviews.
Yeah. Well, we just have more people joining the National Review Party, which is going to be, I guess, up in 2020, and we'll see how that works out for all of them at that point too.
Right.
So the Hillary Clinton came out for the first time, since the election, and decided that she was not even going to mention anything about what's going on around the country, the protests, those kinds of things. And listen, these peaceful protests, I have no problem with what's going on. Like in St. Louis, they had these protests, right? And these folks were just regular people, or, certainly leftist people who had issues with Donald Trump's election. And you know what? They'll go out and formulate like a tea party, a left-wing tea party. And that's fine. We did it when Obama was elected and had issues with his policies. But when it turns into violence, you'd think that somebody like Hillary Clinton would try to say something to try to quell it, but instead she goes out and she talks about herself.
I urge you, please, don't lose heart. Don't give up on the values we share. Look at the young people we are honoring tonight. If they can persevere, so must all of us.
I mean, honestly.
Unbelievable. Yep.
I mean, I appreciate her message to that group, but, still, she needs to say something about her supporters who are out there beating people's asses.
Absolutely. It's unbelievable, isn't it? And of course, the media doesn't report on it either, Jamie. If you weren't reporting on it or a few websites, nobody would know about it.
I know.
Disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very disturbed by it. And President Obama,
right.
Somebody called in earlier and said, well, he would leave the country so he doesn't have to deal with this. Well, wait a minute, though. When was the last time President Obama overseas kept his mouth shut about anything domestic? I mean,
right.
Last time he was overseas, he was criticizing Donald Trump. So,
right.
All right, brother. Well, listen.
This time, too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this time, too. All right, Jimmy. TheGatewayPundit.com. Follow him on Twitter, @GatewayPundit. Appreciate all the work you're doing, brother.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you, friend. Denise.